What's up guys? Today we're going to be showing you how to install SuperATV's soft cab upper door on this Polaris RZR XP1000. So let's get right to it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take some denatured rubbing alcohol. Essentially it's just rubbing alcohol mixed with water, and we're going to clean all of our surfaces here, all along the cage, all the way down through here, the top of the door. And you just want to make sure that you get a good coat. I like to spray it down real good. Let it sit for a second. And we're going to go through and really scrub the plastic. Make sure we get it good and clean. This door here is mud stained. If your door's mud stained, just make sure that you get it really good and clean, the best that you possibly can. We're going to get the cage good and clean here. So once we've cleaned it once, we're going to go back through and clean it again. So now we're going to grab our hook and loop, go ahead and peel the backing. We're going to start it right here above the weld on the cage. What we're going to do is run our Velcro all the way back to this point here, and then cut off our excess. So any point that you have a piece of hook and loop that is sticking up, like in this corner right here, it kind of rolled. What I did is I just came in, made a slight relief cut. And then right here, same thing. You don't want any of that to hang down. If it hangs down like that, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get mud, dirt, debris up underneath the hook and loop. And it's gonna cause it to prematurely lift off of the machine. Just gonna go through and make sure it's good and firmly seated. Try to work any of the bubbles out. Just like an area like this, just rub the bubble out, make sure you're good and adhered the best that you possibly can be. So now we're gonna take our passenger side cab enclosure door and we're gonna lay it up on the cage. Just like so. You'll have these straps. You won't want to use them just yet, but before we're done with the install, we will attach them. Right now we're just trying to get our cab enclosure to kind of fit up where it's going to be laying. I think that's going to fit up pretty good. So now that we kind of have our cab enclosure tacked up on the hook and loop that we just previously installed, we're going to grab a piece and install it along the cage, just like this. So again, we're just going to peel our backing, take it, get it kind of shimmied down about 2 inches from the weld on the cage, just about like that. And just start working it up the cage. And what I like to do, because this is going to be a hard bend to make here, I just like to come in, clip that section off, and go ahead and get it fitting really nicely. Get all the bubbles worked out of it. In this area here, just like to come in and clip it. Again, we want to make sure that every part of the adhesive possible is making contact on a clean surface and not floating. If it's floating off of the cage, it's going to be apt to get mud, dirt, debris behind it, and that's going to affect the longevity of the adhesive. Now we'll just take a small piece, finish out this section here. Lay it in there something like that. I like to try to wrap it all the way on top of where the cage bolts in and then clip it. Again, another spot here. Come in with your scissors, clip it, and tuck it. Make sure it's adhering good to the cage. So now, as you can see, we don't even have it connected down here, and there's still quite a bit of tension on this. That's good. You want to get it as tight as possible. So that's how we're going to mount it. It's going to look nice and tight. You're not going to have any wrinkles in it. And again, we are going to adjust around a little bit, so it's not going to be perfect right now, but this is just kind of an idea of what you're really looking for out of the soft cab. You can see this window, after we get it pulled down and fastened, it's going to be great. So now what we're going to do is start marking our holes for our hook and loop, or sorry, for our snaps to go through our hook and loop. So you have options at this point. On this lower section of the cab enclosure, as you can see, there's snaps to where there's buttons you can attach, or you can use the adhesive, or you can use both. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna apply our hook and loop across these two, so across this rear filler panel as well as the top of the door, then also right here in this section. This section here is the hardest part. You're gonna have to trim it to fit the contour. You wanna keep it off the dash. If you get it on the dash and you need to remove the dash at some point, it's just not gonna work out very well. So what we're gonna do is trim this section here, put a piece down through here, and again, go through and re-clean it. So that's what we're gonna do now. Clean it up a little bit more and start putting some hook and loop on. So here's the angle you need to match. You need to be able to cut this angle out of your hook and loop. So I like to kind of lay it up here, something like this. And we're gonna wanna trim out of the hook and loop the dash area. So as you can see how the dash is set up, that's where we're gonna wanna trim. I like to kind of eyeball it. We send plenty of hook and loop, so if you mess up on the first try, you're good. On this one, I think we nailed it on the first shot here. So what we're gonna do is kind of figure out where we want this to lay. I'm thinking we're gonna cut her off right here. Yeah, I think that's money. So we're gonna go ahead and peel the backing. Go ahead and stick it. something just like that right there. So now we're just gonna work on this piece here. And take it, stick it. Cut off our excess. Then come to this panel, lay a piece, just like this. Cut off the excess. All right, so now that we have all of our hook and loop fastener attached to the machine, what we're gonna need to do is mark our buttons. So this machine has previously had a cab enclosure installed, so there's already holes drilled for the buttons. So we're gonna show you exactly what you would need to do on your machine. The first one you're gonna start with is this closest one to the edge of the door. You wanna make sure that this lines up right here in the corner of this door. If it doesn't line up on this door, the rest of the cab enclosure is not gonna fit tight. So what I like to do, we know that we have it attached up top. It's pretty close to where it needs to be, but I want to pull it down and stretch it into that corner. So my button is lining up perfectly with where it needs to be. So in this aspect, in this case, what we're gonna do, pull this back, mark this with a paint marker. Lipstick, paint marker, whatever you have available. Paint marker is what we have, it's the easiest. Just make sure you get a good amount of paint. So now, we are going to stretch this down, firmly press on that location, just like so, and then peel it, and as you can see, it left a nice little dimple, a little mark where we need to put our snap. So now we're just gonna drill straight through our paint mark. So now what we're gonna do is take one of our snaps, one of our flat washers, and one of our nylock nuts, install the threads of the snaps directly through the hole that we just drilled into the factory door skin. Then you're gonna apply a washer to the inside onto the threads, and then reach inside, in here, start your nut. And once we have it started, we're just gonna go ahead and fully tighten it. Easiest thing I found is just use a drill with a Phillips head and then just hold your socket on the nut. It doesn't tighten up too much. You don't need to hammer this thing down or anything like that. So it should be just like that. So now we're gonna pull our soft cap down and snap it on there, just like that. We'll peel up here and just keep marking all of our snaps. And you'll just continue this process going all the way through all the snaps on the top of the door. Mark it. Mark it. Then we'll transition back here to this rear filler panel. Same process. Push on all of them, make sure they're good and marked. We'll pop. Flip them all to the inside. Then we're just gonna go through, drill all of our holes, and install all of our snaps. So once we have all our hardware started through the door, we're going to go back through and install our washers. And then our nut, just as we did on this front snap. Now we're going to go through and fully tighten all of our snaps. So now that we have it fitted up good, we have all our snaps installed down the side of the machine. We're going to mark these 2 snaps here on the front and take our cab enclosure, stretch it. We're going to stretch it, then press down firmly after we've paint marked our snap. I like to pull my cab enclosure back out of the way. So now what we're going to do that we have our front snap holes marked, we're going to grab our self-tapping snaps. We're just going to thread them in right to the center of our marks. Take our enclosure. Snap, pull it tight, and then just overall check our enclosure out, make sure it's fitting good. We got a little bit of a wrinkle here, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and peel the backside and adjust around on it a little bit. Just kind of part of it. You're going to have to do this a couple times just to try to get all the wrinkles out, and a lot of times you can't get every last little wrinkle out. But right there, it's fitting nice and tight. You don't want a lot of play. There's not. It's fitting really nicely. So we're going to peel it back a little bit, and all of these straps will need to be installed to the cage. So they will just wrap right around. So. So now that you have your cab enclosure installed, you unzip it just like this. Remove it from your door. You can roll it up and stow it away in this area right here. So what you're going to do, you're going to pull it tight, roll it, so if it's kind of a hot day, or for whatever reason that you don't necessarily want the window installed, you can take it, roll it up, and stow it out of the way. just like so. And then it's just as easy to reinstall. Just remove it. Zip it back up. Reattach it to your snaps. There you go, you're ready to ride. To enter and exit the machine, you do have to unzip it, flip your window out of the way, reach in, hit your door handle, then close her back up. You can zip it from the inside or the outside. Either way, there's zippers on both sides of the machine. So then once it's zipped up, you're all good to go. You're gonna be covered from any of the elements, rain, snow, even the cold air, whatever you would like. So once you have the passenger side done, you're just gonna repeat all these same steps on the driver's side, and that's all there is to it to install SuperATV's soft cab upper doors on this Polaris RZR XP1000. Be sure to check the description below for a link to pick yours up today, and while you're there, drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.